So the funniest thing in this was that at the end of this episode, Steiner gets to the top of this mountain and he pops open this like very rosé, cheap looking wine, and I'm 100% sure he could have gone something fancier up there with the salary that he probably is on. How much did they get paid?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Slow Pit Stop. This is our Can't Watch, Won't Watch series where we get other people to watch Drive to Survive for us and summarize it very quickly so we can pretend like we've watched it without having to put the effort in. For episode 4, I'm joined by Angie. Hi Angie, how are you?
I'm very well, Arfad. How are you?
Good, thanks. So let's get right into it. Episode 4, what's it all about?
Okay, so this episode is about the Haas team. Not hot team, but Haas team. And the main dude, who I think is like the manager or something, his name is Steiner. He seems Dutch though, so I was a bit confused because his accent is weird. Anyway, so they were talking about how they were having some financial problems. And 2020, it's just like a for everyone. Oops, swearing.
So we'll take the swearing out. We'll record that bit again. But for context for people that are joining us, Angie doesn't really watch Formula One. So this is all of her introduction. So Gunther Steiner is from the German-speaking part of Italy. That's where he's from.
That would explain his accent. Okay. I was like, this is such a weird accent. Who knew Italian and Dutch, German would sound Dutch? But yes, so this episode is about how Haas was having some financial troubles, which obviously this is all new to me. And they had lost 2 of their experienced drivers for some reason, which seems like a bad thing. I don't know how many drivers they usually have, but it seems like losing 2 is a big deal. And so they were
the entire team.
I see. So that is a problem. I can see the problem now. So they were like, hey, let's get these 2 new guys, but also we need some monies. And he decides to go into some sort of a partnership with a Russian fertilizer company called like Ukulele or something like that. Something similar to that. And the main Russian dude is like, yeah, so let's do it. Here's my son, whose name is, I have it here. Where is his name? Nikita. Yes, Nikita. I switch between calling them by their first names and then their last names, so it gets confusing. But then the other new guy that they have is the Schumacher kid, who is the son of Michael Schumacher.
Correct.
Who I believe at one point was thought to be the Stig in Top Gear, but actually wasn't. Is that right? That's my claim to fame. Thank you. So this episode follows sort of like their trajectory as they get this cash infusion from this Russian oligarch who does not like to be called a Russian oligarch. And, right now it's like #apt because of all the things that are happening. And Nikita is, like, not really great at driving, it seems. Like, he's having all these problems, and he keeps trying to, like, compare himself to the Schumacher guy, and he doesn't like corners, and I saw him spin a lot. There was a lot of spinning out. And so the Russian oligarch, the father, is like, well, if you don't sort this out, I'm going to pull both your funding and obviously my child. And we go through different... I'm going to say Grand Prix, but I feel like that's the wrong terminology. Different races.
The right one is the right one.
Okay, beautiful. Different
How much
races.
do you know about Nikita Mazepin? Do you know why he was so unliked when he came into Formula One?
I was just going with because of his father and that he was not good.
Assaulted a woman.
Oh, here we go.
And videoed it, put it on Instagram and lolled about it, and then was so rich that he couldn't be disciplined for it.
Oh, I hate this guy even more now. Okay, God, what is this? So anyway, so this guy sucks in many ways, and he's trying to, like, compare himself. So we go through all these different Grand Prix where he's just like, it's the car, it's not me. And whoever's, like, commentating is like, they always think it's the car, but really it's him. Schumacher's having a great time. He's, like, hitting his laps, he's got that rhythm going, and Nikita's, like, not feeling it. And then I found that the most interesting part of, well, the whole thing was quite interesting, but the part that really got me confused was they were I don't know if they were in Sochi for the first Russian Grand Prix, and it was all building up to this moment where it was like, he's either gonna get better or he's not gonna get better, but there was a giant pink starfish, and I'm like, is that some form of, like, mascot or
Yeah,
like
I
it
saw
was
that. I
just
didn't know what
very
that was.
confusing. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so I was very intrigued by that. I actually made a note. Sochi, Nikita runs into giant pink starfish. It was more of a question than a comment, but I thought I'd just like
I
bring
don't
that
think
up.
anyone has the answer.
Okay, great. I forgot to caveat this episode is called A Mountain to Climb.
Yeah.
And obviously it's like this like allegory, if that's the right word, it probably isn't, of like how the team is trying to climb this mountain to get to the other side, and Nikita's trying to climb this mountain to become a better person, but he's clearly going to fail
Hmm.
as being a person. But also that literally Steiner is climbing a mountain throughout this
Yeah.
episode, and he's like commenting the whole way, and they're talking about stuff. So I just wanted to like, I should have started with that, but that's why the episode is called that, just to give anyone some interesting facts. But anyway, so here we are. We're at the Russian Grand Prix, and Nikita is racing after being told off, and he's just like in his head, I gotta get this going. And he notices clouds, and he's like, these are super dark. And he's like, I remember these clouds from when I was a small child and I would walk home and they're like legit full of rain. So he becomes the first guy who's like, get me those tires, those wet tires, which have some sort of name, right?
Wet tires or
Wet
inter.
tire.
So you get
That's it,
intermediate
inters.
tires, and then when it's really wet, you go to full wet tires.
So they were like, do you want to get inters? And he's like, yeah, let's put those on. So
Hmm.
he pulls into the pit stop, and goes to get his tires before
Uh-huh.
anyone else. And so you can hear the other guys being like, no, 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 I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And then it literally starts to rain, and everyone starts like skidding around. But he ends up doing, well, what looks like quite well because he changed his tires quickly. But I
Hmm.
think Schumacher had a problem, and he didn't finish for some reason, I
Yeah. So
think.
what they failed to tell you in the episode is Mazepin finished that race in 18th place.
I had a feeling he did not come. Yeah, because
The
Hamilton
other
won,
two
right?
drivers that he finished ahead of did not finish the race because they had mechanical failures. And those scenes of him overtaking people, he was like 4 laps behind people, and eventually he finished like 2 laps behind people or something.
I was having a conversation with someone that I met recently about this and how I was going to be doing this with you. And I was like, yeah, I have a friend. He just loves Formula One. I have to watch this episode. And he was like, yeah, I've seen some of the episodes and they really like add the drama to the
Mm.
episodes to like create the friction or whatever. But I had a feeling he did not finish in the top at least five, but
Oh
that
no,
he
no, no. He always
finished.
finished last. That was his thing.
Oh, I
Out
see.
of 20 races or 21 races, he spun 22 times. The championship has 20 drivers in it, and his official ranking at the end of the year was 21 because someone got COVID and was replaced by another driver for 2 races who beat him. So they
So he's
ranked
just
higher than
really
him.
bad at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he's been sanctioned now,
Oh, yes.
so he can't drive. He's stuck in
Amazing.
Russia.
I was like, when I started watching this episode, I was like, this is great because this is so like, what's the word? Current events. That's it.
No, he's universally disliked for a variety of reasons. Formula One has an anti-racism campaign called We Race as One.
Okay.
And since he got booted out of Formula One because him and his father have both been sanctioned, he has started his own company called We Compete as One to support Russians that are unable to
Oh,
compete right now.
okay.
The thing.
Yeah. This is yeah. This is like if someone was like blue lives, someone's like Black Lives Matter, and then other people go, well, all lives matter.
Yeah.
That's not the point, is
Mazepin
it?
is the All Lives Matter of Formula One.
Yeah. Seems it.
Also, his nickname was Mazaspin when he
I
was
like that.
there for
I
his
like
one
that.
year. So, do you recommend this episode to people? Should we watch it?
Okay, so this is coming from someone who's never really watched a race in her life. I don't know anything about Formula One, clearly. And this episode I found just so interesting. I think because it's like easily digestible. They're like
Hmm.
short episodes. And then obviously if you're a fan, you get all this like insider behind the scenes stuff that's going on that you wouldn't get watching a race in and of itself. But also I was there for the drama. I was really in it.
Good.
It's like Formula One gossip. Love it.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and we shall see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me, and this has been a blast. Can't wait for the next one.